and Farmer Citizens Bank. And now here's your host, Joy Tarbert.
Well, good morning, everyone. And nope, that's not Joy on the set this morning. I'm filling in, and I say, quote, filling in for Joy. Nobody can ever replace her because there's only one Joy Tarbert. But we thought we would try to keep you a little more entertained today. And the people here at the station asked me to come in and visit with you a while and give you the opportunity to make your phone calls as usual instead of running tapes. Because sitting at home, I'm not thrilled with watching taped shows, and I got a lot of help out here. Jim's in the control room, and Cheryl's over here with the phones, and we're going to take live call-ins, and I have a real special treat for you this morning. I have Mr. Jim Hoover, attorney at law, and he's going to join us after the break. And I have a good reason for bringing him in here this morning. He is a candidate, I don't know if that's the appropriate word, but he's going to be on the docket to run for our county judge in November. And one thing I hear constantly from everyone out there is that you want to know about the people. Okay, well, here's your chance. You want to know about somebody that may possibly hold an office in our county, and I'm going to give you that opportunity this morning. But before I do that, and as you notice, I don't have any newspapers in front of me. And I know you're used to hearing rich and famous birthdays and all that good stuff, but you're not going to hear any of that this morning because this is Joanne, this isn't Joy, and I'm never going to be able to fill those shoes. So I'm going to do it my way. And as a matter of fact, Bob told me this morning, go be yourself, and I said, but I really do like my job at the TV station. Do I really want to let these people see the real me? And then, of course, I had one of those mornings where nothing goes right, and another reason that I'll never be Joy, quite frankly, is because I'm not getting up this early in the morning for any reason. There's no doubt about it. Okay. I hope we have some of our faithful viewers out this morning. John, Donna, I hope all my good friends are out there listening. And I want to tell you one more time, we are going to have live call-ins, as Joy does. And I want to talk a little bit about things like community events and later on in the program after Attorney Hoover is done, and talk about what's coming up for us in the future. If you have a rich and famous birthday, of course, feel free to call in and tell us about it. And any other topics you wish to discuss this morning are all an option. Now, Jim, how long till our first break? 2 minutes, okay? Now, Cheryl, what do you do for 2 minutes if you don't have newspapers?
Wing it.
Wing it, okay. We have a real good philosophy out here at the TV station. Try until you make it. Sooner or later you will, right?
Right.
I would like, real quick before we go to break, Don, if you're out there, John, if you're out there, Aunt Mabel, all you faithful viewers of Joy's, I'm going to ask you to support me this week. Not being unfaithful to Joy, because we will never be unfaithful to Joy, but just because I need you so much this week to help me get through. Oh, coming up this week, I should tell you, let's see, that tomorrow we're going to have Charles, quote, Red Kirkenberg, is that right, Cheryl? And he's the honorary chairman of the American Cancer Society. He's going to be here with us tomorrow. And then we're going to have some special guests, Sherry Baldwin, Park Activities Director from Muskegum Lakes at Pleasant Hill and Charles Mill. And then, I apologize, but we did have Judge Sherrick scheduled for Thursday, but I received a message that inadvertently his schedule had changed and he won't be able to be with us. But we will be announcing later in the week who will be here. And then Friday we have Cedar Point? SeaWorld. See? SeaWorld. We're going to have a special representative from SeaWorld down telling us what they've got up and coming this summer. We have 3 guests from SeaWorld.
We have Rob Carlson,
Rob Carlson.
the animal specialist.
Animal specialist.
Kim Stover.
Kim Stover.
Relations specialist.
What kind of specialist, sir?
Public relations.
Public relations specialist.
And we have a special guest star, animal handler, and a call.
Oh, a bird? You're going to have me have a bird on the...
Yes.
One of those big ones that bite?
Yeah, we get to see how good you are this morning.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think I'll stick with the attorneys. Okay. Well, it's time to go to our first break. We're going to let our anchor sponsors, Joy always tells us about the anchor sponsors, and they are very important to us because without them, we don't stay on the air. Take it away, Jim.
Struble Drug at 133 North Sandusky Avenue in Bucyrus has a complete supply of sunscreens of varying strength for all ages. While you're at Struble's, be sure to get your bug spray for those pesky mosquitoes, then check the first aid supplies so you can be prepared for all of those little emergencies that happen when we least expect them. 61 years of caring for you make Struble Drugs part of your family.
Citizens Bank, you got a friend at Farmers.
Community banks, like Farmer Citizens Bank, loan money that helps create jobs for millions of Americans in manufacturing, small business, and housing. That money helps the Bucyrus community grow. Remember, you have a friend at Farmers Citizens Bank.
You got a friend, Farmers Citizens Bank.
Member FDIC.
Well, we're back. And as I told you before, I have a special guest here this morning. And we're going to put him on there and let everybody take a look at him, looking very handsome this morning. I'd like to introduce you to Attorney James Hoover. And Mr. Hoover is a candidate for our Crawford County judicial system this November. And he is running for which judge's seat?
The Crawford County Municipal Court Judge's seat, Joanne.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, well, I tell you what, one thing I hear always is, who is this guy?
All right. Well, let me explain a little bit about my background. I am Jim Hoover. My birth name is James Hoover, but I prefer to go by my nickname Jim. I was born in Gallion and have been a resident of Crawford County now for 47 years. I'm 51 years old. Married to Peggy Reinhardt Hoover. I have a son, David, who is in Cleveland working for the American Greeting Card Company, and a daughter, Jennifer, who is a speech pathologist in Indianapolis. I have two stepsons, Mark and Tim Reinhardt, who attend Ashland University. I have been a Gallion resident all my life, other than when I went away to college, and then briefly for 5 years when I first married Peggy, my wife. Now I'm back in Gallion. I have practiced in Gallion since 1969 in the law firm of Rick Secker, Wagner, Hoover, and Palmer.
I think we were just talking about that before we went on the air. Is it 1970?
I returned there in 1970, that's correct. I graduated from Gallion High School in 1962, went to Ohio University, where I attended the College of Business Administration, graduated with a degree in finance in 1966, and then attended Ohio Northern University College of Law, graduated there in 1969. After I was graduated from college from law school, I went to Columbus, Ohio, and worked with the Ohio Attorney General's office as an assistant attorney general, first representing the Department of Industrial Relations, enforcing the building code throughout the state of Ohio, and also the various sections of the Department of Industrial Relations. About halfway through that year that I worked in Columbus, the Attorney General then, Paul Brown, created a criminal activities section, and I was then assigned to that section where I worked until the election when Mr. Brown was not elected again.
Oh, okay.
And then I lost my job with the Attorney General's office. At that time is when I returned to Gallion and started in the practice then, where I have been since that time. While I was with the Attorney General's office in both the Department of Industrial Relations representation and also with the Criminal Activities section, I represented those agencies throughout the state in both the state court system and the federal court system. I was able to get in the common pleas courts throughout the states, the courts of appeals throughout the states, the federal court for the Northern District of Ohio, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals in Cincinnati, which is the federal court of appeals for our district, and then finally I was able to represent the AG's office in one case in the United States Supreme Court.
I don't think I'd want to have to type your resume. You've got quite a background. It sounds like you've been in all avenues, too. You've went on every side and got to see it from an objective view from every side now.
Yes, and in the practice in Galion, I have been representing defendants throughout the years. I have also been representing the prosecution side throughout the years. In fact, I spent many years representing both the cities of Galion and Crestline in the municipal court from the time it was created 18 years ago until approximately 5 years ago, when those jobs were then placed with other persons. Prior to that time, I also represented both of those cities in the Crawford County Court, which was the predecessor court to our municipal court.
Mr. Hoover, what qualifications are necessary to be a municipal judge?
Okay. Well, legally, the statutes of Ohio require that you be an attorney that's admitted to the practice of law for at least 6 years, that you are also a qualified elector in the territorial area of the court, otherwise registered to vote, and then you also need to be a resident of the county or the territory that the court serves.
Okay.
Those are the legal qualifications. Now, the State Bar Association here in Ohio, which is a voluntary organization consisting of about 80% of the lawyers here in Ohio, have formulated a commission, and that commission has come up with some guidelines that they use in evaluating appellate court judges and Supreme Court judges when they're running for office. They do not do that process, however, for the lower courts like our common pleas court here in the county and the municipal court that I'm running for. But the guidelines that they have, and I brought them with me today, I'd like to touch on them because I think it's important that the viewing audience knows what these things are that are important to the lawyers of the state of Ohio for a judge. First, they feel, and they have established, that a judicial candidate should be a person who has integrity, undisputed integrity. They also go on to say that candidates should have legal knowledge and ability. Otherwise, that candidate should possess a high degree of knowledge of established legal principles and procedures and have a high degree of ability to interpret and apply them to a specific factual situation. They go on to say that the candidate should be a licensed, experienced lawyer. A candidate should have judicial temperament. That is, the candidate should possess common sense, compassion, decisiveness, firmness, humility, open-mindedness, patience, tact, and understanding. They go on to say that a candidate should be diligent and punctual in the performance of the duties of judge. A candidate should possess good physical health and mental health, and then also the candidate should be one who is personally responsible in his or her life, one that is responsible in his financial matters, in abiding by the laws of the state and the country, and committed to the fulfillment of the tasks and duties assigned in past positions. And finally, the candidate should be a person who has previous public service, professional activities, civic and community activities. And Joanne, I guess what I would like to say as a salesman perhaps for myself today is I feel that I offer the voters of Crawford County all of those qualities for judge.
Hey, sounds good to me, but you know, up until this moment, I really had no idea that they even had a guideline that would tell us something that important. And those are important to all of us as citizens of the community. Okay. I guess we'll need to ask you that. Can you answer a legal question on the air?
I would prefer not to give legal advice on the air, yes.
It makes sense to me. I'm sorry, but we're going to stick to the program here of letting you get to know Mr. Hoover as a candidate for our judicial system. Okay. All right. I think I'd be interested. What kind of cases do you hear in municipal? Would you hear as a judge in municipal court?
All right. In Ohio, our courts are structured so that there are what we call constitutional courts, and then there are also statutory courts. The constitutional courts are the ones that are created by our Ohio Constitution, and those are the Ohio Supreme Court, the various courts of appeals, and the common police courts, the Constitution goes on to say that there are other lower courts that can be created by the legislature from time to time. One of those courts is our Crawford County Municipal Court. It was created by a legislative act approximately 18 years ago. And the statute that creates that court, along with the other municipal courts, enables it to hear civil cases or cases where people are suing for dollar amounts up to $10,000. It goes on, the statutes of Ohio go on to enable that court to hear cases in criminal matters in all misdemeanor areas, crimes that are punishable by a fine of $1,000 or less, and in some instances, just a misdemeanor classification has been given to an offense by our legislature, those types of offenses. And then in felony cases, the more serious crimes, the municipal court has jurisdiction to have what's called a preliminary hearing, where it's determined at that hearing whether someone who has been charged with the crime, if there's been probable cause, to bind that person over to the grand jury, and then the grand jury would then review the case, and then the case would move into the common pleas court. The statutes also go on to allow that court to hear evictions for landlord and tenant cases, replevant actions, which are actions where people are trying to have some property returned to them that have been wrongfully taken by others. The court is allowed to enforce and collect its own judgments through procedures that can be used, and lawyers representing people who are owed money out of a judgment from the municipal court can come back to that court for post-trial proceedings to collect that judgment. It's a court that's enabled to hear on temporary protective orders in domestic relations matters. It's a court that is enabled to hear contract claims, and a court that can hear interpleader cases. For example, an interpleader case would be one where someone may be holding some money on behalf of various parties, and now someone wants to know what to do with that money, and they would go to the court to have instructions for what's to be done with the money. But that's basically the type of cases that you would hear. The largest volume of the municipal court docket, however, at least I cannot speak for the Judge Sherrick now, but when I was involved as a prosecutor for Gallion and Crestline, is truly devoted, however, to the criminal side in the misdemeanor cases. Municipal court also has, in the civil side of the claims of $10,000 and under, there's a small claims division in which people can file cases on their own without the need of hiring an attorney for claims up to $2,000.
I was very lucky in getting to use that system one time, and quite honestly, I found it very beneficial. You know, that it did enable me to collect a small debt without having to, excuse me, pay an attorney.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
You know, while you talk on that point, I like to sell lawyers. I believe in lawyers. I'm a lawyer first, and I want to be a judge second, but always I'll be a lawyer first. And you know, the legal system does an awful lot in Ohio to really try to promote things that are truly in the best interest of the general public, and we really don't get credit for that. You know, the small claims division would be an example of that. We are really conscious as attorneys of the cost of litigation and how expensive legal proceedings have become. We don't like that as much as the general public doesn't like that. But we try to work on projects, especially through the State Bar Association again, which was that voluntary group that our state lawyers have, to try to make the laws better for all of us.
Well, that we can always use help with. There's no doubt about it. Mr. Hoover, that's a thing that always puzzles me. I'm kind of getting a little off here, but do we call you Attorney Hoover? Mr. Hoover?
I like to be called Jim.
Okay, Jim. Let's do it that way then. Jim, what is your educational background? What does it take to get to the place you achieved in life?
All right. In Ohio, to become an attorney, the law just simply requires that you attend an undergraduate school that is accredited, a college that's accredited by the National Accrediting Associations, and obtain a 4 or 5 year degree. And of course, sometimes those degrees can be obtained sooner if a person accelerates their school. Then beyond that undergraduate program, the Supreme Court, through its rules that governs the lawyers of Ohio, you have to attend a law school. It can be any law school in the country, but the law school must be, again, accredited by the nationally recognized accredited associations. Once you attend law school, graduate from law school, then you're required to take the Ohio Bar Examination, which is a test that's put together by the Ohio Supreme Court that has appointed a commission of examiners, and that test is a test that's given twice a year, I believe now. At least it was when I took the test. That's a long time ago. And the attorney then needs to pass that test. Prior to going to law school, the attorney needs to be screened by a local committee on their fitness and character. They have to go through an FBI fingerprinting program. And again, before they take the bar exam, that again is implemented, that program is implemented to make sure that the person has no convictions for felonies. And that's the reason for the fingerprinting process.
Okay. Jim, do you have any concerns about our judicial system today?
Yes, I do. And I suppose my largest concern is in the public's apparent loss of faith in our legal system that we constantly hear about. And part of that, I think, relates back to perhaps an area of concern that I have where judges, I firmly believe judges should not be politicians. And in fact, on the State Bar Association's Board of Governors that I've served on now for 2 years, and I will have just one more term before I go off. We're on a 3-year term. The State Bar has promoted over the years a plan where we would have judges appointed now, not like the federal system where they would be appointed for life, but where they would be appointed by a committee of people from the local territorial area of the court, such as in Crawford County. A commission would be established of Democrats, Republicans, independents, lay people, manufacturers, union people. They would meet with the candidates, screen the candidates, and then select the candidates based on their qualifications. Instead of the process we have now, where frequently people are elected just on the basis of popularity or what can be marketed through a campaign. And that doesn't just apply to judges. That applies across the board in a lot of areas. But we feel, the lawyers have felt, that we should perhaps in the State Bar Association remove the elective process from the judiciary at first. But then the program that we were promoting would say that when and if the people within, for example, the Crawford County territorial area of our municipal court were to become unsatisfied with its judge, or in the common pleas court, or in the probate court, or in the Court of Appeals, whatever that court would be, that the voters could then circulate petitions under the system we had promoted. The petitions, if obtaining sufficient signatures, would then put that person's name on the ballot to run for either retention or removal. Then the judge would not be always out running against another person, always out having to campaign, always out having to raise money to try to gain the popularity that seems to be necessary to become elected.
It's very
With
true.
that system, and Missouri has had that system for a long time, you end up with more qualified judges throughout the program. And it's been a very successful system. And then back again to the concerns that I have with our system, is I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we as professionals don't really inform the public as to what's happening out there. You know, right now there's a movement afoot nationally that has good sides to it and bad sides to it to limit civil suits in certain amounts. The theory, though, that you're hearing nationally is that there are just lawsuits, more and more and more. And yes, that has been the case, but contrary to the trend you're hearing in the media, lawsuits have fallen off in this state. There are fewer civil filings in our state over the last few years than in the prior years. And part of that, I think, has to do with the fact that at the federal level many years ago and at the state level, both the federal system and in Ohio adopted rules of civil procedure that contained a rule that prohibited frivolous conduct. Otherwise, if an attorney files a lawsuit that's completely frivolous, the judge presiding over that case can at its conclusion say, I'm sorry, your lawsuit was totally frivolous. You have not prevailed in this case, and I'm going to assess against you the cost and attorney's fees that the other party has had to incur. And quite frankly, that has made people within my profession take a very serious look at what they file in the courts. And I suppose I would say to the lawyers who aren't taking that very serious look, they're walking a very fine line. But again, the trend is that the public perceives there are more and more lawsuits, whereas that has not been the case civilly here in Ohio over the last few years. Yes, there still are perhaps more than our courts can handle, but again, the perception isn't the reality. And with that comes the people's loss of faith in our judicial system. And I'm going to get very philosophical here, but when people lose faith in the judicial system, it becomes very frightening to me.
Yes.
It's very frightening to me because when people start to take the law into their own hands, and we used to have that in this country and in other countries, you can end up with a situation that's not very comfortable for its citizens. And far too often, all of us as American citizens take for granted our liberties that we have, And I'm proud to say that our liberties have been guaranteed because of our system of laws. And lawyers, again, are part of that system of laws. So that would be some of the concerns I have. I think the judicial system needs to be responsive to the public, listen to the public as to what they would like to see accomplished, but most importantly, the judicial system always needs to be aware of the fact that they cannot always be the popular side of the public. The public today wants to have instant justice. Let's take the criminal side. If someone is accused of a crime, they want to have instant justice, and I can understand where that comes from, because they're frustrated with the delays that occur. But we've had a good example of a case this year where instant justice that's demanded could have resulted in a horrible consequence. And we take our mother, the Smith lady who drowned her 2 children.
Yeah.
The first press releases on that is that was a young black man. And if the officials to be in that county would have moved quickly and bowed to the pressures of the public who wanted a young black man arrested to drown those kids right then, and that could have been a Caucasian female reporter. The point is, if the system would have moved as quickly as our society now wants it to, innocent people could have been shot in the pursuit of trying to arrest someone who didn't commit the crime. So I suppose with the growing paranoia of America, with the criminal element of society that continues to make them afraid, perhaps to go out at night, I also worry about how society itself is trying to make justice move too quickly. And then I also worry about judges who want to respond to that, because the judges always need to be the independent intermediary between the prosecution and the defense, the plaintiff and the defendant. That judge needs to try to, as best as he or she can, maintain that system in which fairness will always prevail. It's a sacred doctrine to me. Yeah.
I think at this point, I'd like to ask you a question. I guess it's not really. I'd like to clarify. Jim, what I think I hear you saying to me, what I'm hearing, is that you still believe in innocent until proven guilty.
Well, absolutely, and it's not just in the criminal side. I mean, I think a judge must remain as fair and impartial in all proceedings as they can, and it's very critical in the criminal area. My children remind me how often I got into situations where I may have accused them falsely of something because of something someone said. And there isn't any one of us who probably hasn't fallen to that trap at one time or another.
Yeah.
Truly, people who are guilty under our system and are found guilty under our system need to be accountable for their actions. I firmly believe in that. But the point is, in getting to that process, we need to always assure and be sure that there is a system that guarantees fairness and fundamental liberties to our people. Because it can go wrong. It's gone wrong in countries and governments in the past. It can go wrong in this country again if the popularity's demands start to rise up and cause our court systems to fall. I hope that never happens.
I think a curiosity to me would be how could a person, as a judge, be able to separate their personal feelings from a legal decision?
Well, that would be very difficult because we're all human. But, as lawyers, you're trained to be advocates. In law school, you're trained to represent one side or the other, and you are trained to do that well in either event. And as a judge, your training in law school would tell you that a judge's function is to try to remove his or her personal emotions from the case. I think it's always going to creep in because we're only human, but you just always need to be conscious of the fact that you can't let your feelings stand in the way of what the law says. As an example, if a law is bad, in my opinion, but as long as it stands the constitutional muster, in my opinion as a judge, it would be my obligation to enforce that law, even though I don't necessarily like that law. Because again, the judge's job is to uphold the laws that our legislature passes, to see that they are enforced in the court, fairly. So, let's just take, for example, gambling. That would be an illustration. If I chose to say that I believe that gambling should be allowed, and then the state law would prohibit gambling, as it does in many instances, it would be my job as a judge to see that the gambling laws are enforced. If I hate to use abortion because it's a very controversial topic.
That's okay.
But if I chose, I mean, I'm not saying how I believe in that issue, but if there were a law that prohibited abortion and the courts of the highest courts of this nation said that that was constitutional, it would be my job to enforce that, even though I don't like that. And it's difficult. There are judges who have a hard time doing that, but I think I could handle that situation well.
Well, it does sound like it's a very difficult job.
Oh, it is.
And I guess that's why I would ask you, why would you want to be a judge in Crawford County?
Well, let's go back 18 years. I worked with a committee of the Crawford County Bar Association at that time to establish our Crawford County Municipal Court. We had a committee that worked with our representative, Paul Pfeiffer, at that time, to establish a Crawford County Municipal Court because the members of the committee and some of the members of our Bar Association felt there was a need to have better justice in Crawford County through a full-time court that had county-wide jurisdiction. Since that time, 6 years ago, I ran for municipal court judge because I felt I could contribute to the better operation of that court in some of the philosophical things that I've just talked about this morning. And again today, I feel that there is a need for change, and I think that I can provide the voters of Crawford County with the philosophical things I've talked about today and give them the judge that they would like to have. Personally, I have found over the years that I've been able to be an advocate for the plaintiff and the defendant. I've been able to be a representative of criminal defendants and the prosecution, representing you, the citizens of the county, in prosecuting crimes. I'm ready for a change to try to be on the decision-making side, the arbitrating side, the less fighting side, I suppose, and trying to be in administering fair and impartial justice.
Okay, we'll take this call, if I can remember how to do it. Good morning.
Hi. I wanted to ask the lawyer about being a judge. How would you go about trying to prevent the waste of taxpayers' money when it comes to going to court, trials, jury trials, things like, between preliminary hearings and jury trials? How do you stop it at one point so it's not a waste of time and money for the taxpayers? How do you feel about that?
Well, personally, that's something that a judge is really hard-pressed to do because you can't find out that it's a waste until the case is totally concluded. As an illustration, if you were to file in the county court or the Crawford County Municipal Court or any court an action and you felt that it was very good, at the moment it's filed, that judge won't know if it's good or bad until the case has been concluded. And that is the problem in our system. We can't pre-screen cases. That would be prejudging, and that's exactly what a judge is not supposed to do. There is a lot of waste that goes on in anything in life, and that's a problem that all courts deal with.
Did that help answer your question?
Well, Florida, yeah.
Okay, thanks for calling. We have another line for us? Let's do it. If all else fails. How can the voters out here listening this morning, how can they become more informed about judicial candidates?
Well, that's a very difficult issue, other than for every voter to personally meet the candidate and have a one-on-one discussion, and that's an impossibility. And it's very difficult because of the rules and regulations that our Supreme Court places on attorneys and judges. First, if an attorney is critical of a judge, he's not allowed to be publicly critical, or he or she is not allowed to be publicly critical because of the canons of judicial ethics, or legal ethics that relate to lawyers. When it comes to a judge, a judicial candidate or a judge cannot make promises about what he or she will do when they become a judge, specifically other than, and I brought the Canon 7, it's called, the canon prohibits any candidate from making pledges or promises of conduct in office other than the faithful and impartial performance of the duties of their office. This becomes even more complicated when the Code of Legal Professional Ethics that regulates attorneys makes it mandatory that they allow the public to know who they feel are qualified as judges. So it sounds like they want the lawyers to let the public know, and yet if lawyers get critical, they can be sanctioned or disciplined for that under our canons of ethics. And of course, candidates like myself cannot speak out too much other than to give general background information. But what I have encouraged people, and I feel it's very important, when you have an election coming up like this, a good source is to call attorneys, and perhaps that's very dangerous because I know with the general public, what the lawyers like can be very unpopular. But call the attorneys who work in a court system. For example, in this election, call the attorneys who work in the Crawford County Municipal Court. Ask their opinion if they would support my candidacy or support the retention of the incumbent Judge Sherrick. And from that, be prepared for those lawyers not to be able to give you a lot of detail as to why they would support either Judge Sherrick or myself because of these rules I've discussed. But I think that would be a good starting point because, like in your life, if you want a mechanic that's good, you'll talk to people who have dealt with that mechanic.
Exactly.
You need to talk with people who have dealt with the judge or myself and get a feeling for that. But other than that, that's about the only way they can do it because of the restraints that are placed on lawyers and judicial candidates.
Well, we've got a couple calls here. Let's take
Go
them
ahead.
real quick. I know you've got to be leaving us shortly, but good morning.
Good morning, Joanne.
Well, good morning, Don.
And I see you got Mr. Hoover there. I hope we're going to have a clean sweep.
Okay.
You know that ought to come out of me.
Okay.
I got a good one. This has really not a lot to do with making decisions, but it does. Judges today are faced with a vice. On one side, the wish for, shall we say, satisfaction by the people of a community or county with regard to upholding their laws. And on the other side, a lack of space in the way of prisons to put people, okay? And on the other hand, too, situations where civil law is involved, where there is loss of jobs, loss of various things, which provided income for a family, which have dried up and gone away due to various problems beyond those people's control, winding up in civil actions. What innovative ways might there be? Not asking you that you would possibly do them, but innovative ways might we deal with both the civil and the criminal problem, other than turning the violent criminal loose on the street again? I'll back off and listen to the answer.
Well, you're heavy, Don. That's for sure. Big question.
I know I am. I got that 920 right around the middle there. You get that clean sweep out there, Mr. Hoover. Let me see what you got. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Don, the Ohio State Bar Association, again, wrestles with the very problems that you have talked about. Our Ohio legislature wrestles with the various problems that you've talked about. The State Bar has been recommending and studying the use of alternate dispute resolution techniques on the civil side of all of our courts for several years, and those techniques have been implemented in many courts, things such as mediation and arbitration. Some courts even have rules that require the mandatory mediation or arbitration of a case before you even file in the civil side. That same approach is now being studied and looked at in the criminal area as well. As an example, barking dog cases technically violate the criminal statute. Is that something maybe we should now look to arbitrators and mediators to try to resolve, short of tying up criminal docket times that need to be more available for the more serious types of an offense? And when I say more serious, that's dangerous, because if you're a person who's trying to sleep and there's a dog barking all night, that's pretty aggravating, and I understand that. But the point is, should we be looking at things other than the traditional jury trial for some types of offenses? Should we reduce the number of jurors in misdemeanor cases as being studied by the Ohio State Bar Association? Should we be reducing the number of jurors in all types of criminal cases? Should we be removing the jury trial in many cases? Should we be removing preliminary hearings altogether has been studied, and those things are all things that the legal profession has looked at to try to help expedite and make more efficient our court system. The prisons, of course, have been left up to you, the voters, because it's necessary for you, through your legislators, to implement the dollars to build prisons and to staff the prisons to house the criminals. Recently, within the last several years, house arrest has been used in situations in lieu of actual incarceration, where people are placed in their own home under a program that they have to pay for, instead of into a jail or a traditional prison setting. That type of a program is, again, another area where the lawyers and the legislature and courts have tried to address the overworked system. I mean, I could go on and on this because it's a very good question. It was a very good question Don raises, and it's a very frustrating problem that the system has tried to deal with. We are looking at these answers, or these things as possible answers, and we hope that they will provide those answers.
Well, Jim, we've got one more phone call. I'd like to slide it in, and I know you've got to leave us, so. Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to know what would happen if we would have term limits on judges, just the same as we got everybody else. And another thing is, I'd like to know why we couldn't limit the amount of lawyers on one case, such as the O.J. Simpson case, is a waste of money, and it's not proven a thing. So I'd like to see if we could do something about that too. And I wish you luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. On the term limit side, of course, the people of Ohio can always regulate the legal profession through its constitution, because the legal profession is solely here only because your constitution allows us to be here. So if you were to reform either the constitution or statutorily come up with term limits, you could do that, again, provided that it would meet the constitutional muster of the United States Supreme Court and the Ohio Court. The other question was what now? I forget. He's not there now, is he?
No, he left us.
Oh.
Okay,
I forget
well,
his
we got
other question, yeah.
Is the next call for Mr. Hoover? Okay, we got one more call here. We'll take this. Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to ask the incumbent if he gets along with all the sheriffs and all the municipal people.
Oh, that's a big one there. Do you get along with everyone?
You want to ask the incumbent, you say?
Well, no, not really. You.
Oh.
She wants to ask you, Mr. Hoover.
Well, I hope so.
We've got you elected already. How do you like that?
I try to be a very personable person. I've always enjoyed people, and try to get along with everyone I deal with.
Have you got any relation in the enforcement here in Crawford County?
Any relation in where, I'm sorry?
In the enforcement field?
Law enforcement field.
I had a cousin who was a police officer for Galleon. He is no longer a police officer for Galleon.
So there would be no conflict?
Well, no one that I know of, but as you know, in Crawford County, a lot of us get to be related if we start going back in our family tree, but no, none that I know of directly.
And are you a Democrat?
I'm a registered Republican.
A Republican?
Yes, running on, however, on a nonpartisan judicial ballot.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thanks for calling.
Oh, the second question? Yes.
Okay, line 2. Go ahead.
I'd like to ask you if you can't do something in the courts about the rich people having all the lawyers and the poor people can't even afford one. We've got too many lawyers in the Simpson case, and I think that's outrageous.
There you go. That was your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for calling back. On the number of cases, or a number of attorneys in a case, of course, that can be controlled by the client. They can hire as many attorneys as they desire. The number of attorneys allowed, however, in the courtroom can be controlled by the judge. Judge Ito may have decided improperly that he should have allowed all of those attorneys in the courtroom. He may have decided properly. The point is, he is the one who can determine who can be in the courtroom. For example, I have participated in trials where there are multiple lawyers representing the party, and the court will only allow one lawyer to sit at the attorney's table, or maybe two lawyers to sit at the client's table and to ask questions throughout the trial, whereas the other attorneys may be involved in the perimeter, helping do the support work and researching, organizing witnesses, organizing witness statements, etc. The rich and the poor is a real problem. It's a very difficult problem, and it's becoming a greater problem because federal spending is now being cut back in all areas, and one of the biggest areas to be cut is going to be the Legal Services Corporation, which is federally funded throughout the United States. That's a corporation that has been set up and subsidized by federal monies and then state monies in the states where they exist for representing poorer people. Lawyers are just going to have to shoulder more and more the responsibility of representing those who can't afford attorneys. But I also want to say, again, while I'm here in an opportunity to sell the legal profession, every lawyer I know of has done voluminous work and never has been remunerated financially for it, for various civic organizations or poor people who cannot afford attorneys, or in many instances will charge a lesser fee than they charge a fee to a client who does have means or financial wealth.
Okay. This is line one? Okay. Good morning.
Hi, Jim.
Good morning.
This is Bonnie Swain Anschutz, and I don't think it really makes any difference whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. We all hold our coffee cup the same, don't we?
You betcha.
I see Jim up at Wendy's quite a bit.
Oh, he's a Wendy's person, huh?
Yeah, he is.
Well, that restores my faith in judges right there, right?
Up and runs down the street.
Okay. Well,
I know
thanks.
Jim will know me when he sees me.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Bye,
Thanks
Bonnie.
for calling. Well, I hate to say this, and I do want to tell you very much before we go to our break, that always I'm hearing people say, who is this guy? What's this? I go into the polls in November and I look and I think, well, this is a nice name, but who is it? Well, this morning we've given you an opportunity to know who is it. This is Mr. Jim Hoover, and he is a candidate for Crawford County Municipal Court Judge.
That's correct.
And I've definitely enjoyed meeting you. I've enjoyed having you on the show this morning, and I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have. But he's got to go. He let me know. He's got to be at the court at 9 o'clock, and we're running him real tight for time.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Jim, you want to take it to a break, and we'll be back.
Midwest Furniture and Midwest Bedroom in downtown Bucyrus has a large selection of quality furniture for your shopping convenience. Folks, we know we can save you money on sofas, chairs, recliners, dining room suites, curios, mattress sets, bedroom furniture, day beds, bunk beds, and more. You can finance your purchase with any of our special payment plans. Visit our catalog showroom at either store, 562-6636, or 562-3112.
John's Pharmacy is well known in the Gallion and Crawford County area for some very good reasons. Prescriptions for most insurance plans, including Medicaid and Workman's Comp, are filled with friendly service. Heartbeat and Right to Life are supported to help prevent innocent babies from being killed by abortion. Our home health care equipment now features the PaySaver electric scooter. Easy to operate. Fits in your trunk. Go where you want to go. As Conrad says,
come to Vaughn's Pharmacy. You'll be glad you did.
Treat yourself to the best home cooking in the area. No prepackaged mixes are used. Real mashed potatoes. The best roast beef, roast turkey, and roast pork that has made Al Smith's place famous. Our slow cooking of all our fresh meats is a secret to our flavor and tenderness. If you like ribs, try our barbecued rib tips covered in our own homemade barbecue sauce. Our baked potato supreme is a real meal in itself, and our beer-battered mushrooms and onion rings are the talk of the town. We feature 5 homemade soups, plus our daily specials. We can also satisfy your sweet tooth with a piece of our homemade pie with mile-high meringues or a southern fudge pie made from scratch that any chocolate lover dreams about. We open at 6 a.m. daily with a full breakfast menu featuring the best homemade biscuits and sausage gravy and our unique country scramble. Breakfast served until 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday till 2 p.m. You'll never go away hungry at Al Smith's place. We are open 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday till 11 p.m. You've tried the rest, now have the best.
Bucyrus Country Club is now open to the public for all golfers to enjoy. Totally redesigned with a whole new layout, this course offers a challenge to all golf enthusiasts, men and women alike.
The
Country Club's new golf pro, Bill Grammer, invites you to enjoy a relaxing round of golf and then come into the lounge for your favorite beverage and sandwiches. So don't let a good time pass you up. Come on down to the Bucyrus Country Club, 1330 East Mansfield Street in Bucyrus, or call 562-0381 for tea times. The Bucyrus Country Club, now open to the public. Symphonic Hearing Aid Center, owned and operated by Tony Veloff, gets you into her Bucyrus location at 1008 South Sandusky Avenue for a free hearing evaluation. Tony has the latest in electronic testing equipment and techniques to fit you with the best hearing aids. And of course, Tony has the major brands to make sure your purchase will last and last. So if you've noticed a hearing problem, contact Tony at Symphonic Hearing Aid Centers, 562-0707 or 1-800-537-4327 today. Check out New Supply, your remodeling superstore. Are you looking to remodel your kitchen or bathroom with new carpet, custom built-in cabinets, or new appliances? Then check out New Supply of Marion. 100% wood quality cabinets will treat your home with the quality and care it deserves. Are you planning on building a new home? See the design experts and color coordinators at New Supply. Before you search the world, see what we can offer. That's New Supply, 1585 Harding Highway East in Marion, 1-800-878-1585.
At Bucyrus Community Hospital, our commitment to provide the latest medical technology complements our belief that quality care begins with caring professionals. From the emergency room to outpatient surgery and our new specialty center, each patient's health and well-being will always be our primary concern. Best of all, we've made quality care available right here where we live. Bucyrus Community Hospital, a lifetime of caring for our community.
The Bell Michael Home, located at 518 East Rensselaer Street in Bucyrus, offers secure, comfortable living in a charming older home atmosphere. The Bell Michael Home is open to women, men, or couples. Enjoy home-cooked meals with other residents. Feel safe and secure as a caring staff look after your needs. 24-hour or temporary care and lodging are available. Call for an appointment to visit the Bell Michael Home, or for more information, contact Lynn Batten at 419-562-0168. Check out this comfortable retirement lifestyle. That's the Bell Michael Home, 518 East Rensselaer Street, Bucyrus.
Get ready for ribs, plus music and fun for everyone. Come to the Kroger NCTC Rib Cook-Off July 13th, 14th, and 15th. You'll find great rib cookers, family fun, and a variety of music by Beauty and the Beats, Phil Dirt and the Dozers, the Rivermen, and more. Thursday sponsored by Pontiac, Friday by Coors, and Saturday by Mill Iron. Admission $4 for adults, $1 for kids 5 to 12, kids 4 and under free. The Kroger NCTC Rib Cook-Off. Come and get it.
Well, good morning. I'm back. As I said before, I'm filling in for Joy. Not replacing Joy, filling in. Joy's on vacation this week. We've had a lot of calls and persons asking about Bill Tarbert, Penny's father. And my last update was last night I talked to Penny, and he's holding his own. He's in cardiac intensive care at Riverside Hospital, and he is scheduled to have triple bypass surgery tomorrow morning. I know Penny's down at the hospital with him now, and her brother may be down there, I'm not sure. But I think all the viewers out there in the area would want to send up their prayers and support of the Tarbert family through this time. We also had a call come in, and there was a black and brown puppy, I guess a Pomeranian, a male, 2 to 3 year old male, and he's blind in one eye, and he was found at the north end of Dean Street. And they're saying that if this is your dog, to call 562-8102. And we got a call. Line 1? Line 2. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi, Joanne.
Well, hi.
This is Wilbert Wirt, President of the Veteran Service Commission of Crawford County.
Oh, well, hello there.
Hi. I have some important news for our veterans drawing disability pensions.
Well, let us have it.
Listen up, veterans, and call your state senators, representatives, and write and let them know about this urgent message. I will read it from a letter put out by the Disabled American Veterans of the state of Ohio, which I am a member and an officer in our local chapter. The letter reads urgent. Powerful congressional leaders are testing the strength of the American veterans. We must win this crucial battle, or the war over veteran benefits could be lost forever. Don't underestimate the threat we face, a threat very bit as serious as the Economy Act of 1930, which turned thousands of disabled American veterans into panhandlers. In a cruel, bitter, arrogant insult to you and every veteran of the DAV service, some powerful leaders in Congress have declared war on disabled veterans, proposing horrendous reductions in the VA. Activate your members now. It's easy for you and your members to express opposition to these cuts to your senators and representatives in Washington. Just call 1-800-651-1574 and Western Union will send a pre-written message from you to both your senators and representatives in the House. The cost to you is only $8.50. Now, rather than do that, it would be nice if they would just write a personal letter. However, that $8.50 that would cost you to go through the Western Union message would still be cheap to you. That would save you from losing your disability pensions. So that would be up to you how they wanted to handle that.
Wilbur, what veteran, you're a veteran, what war are you a veteran of?
World War II.
Okay. Well, you know something? I think that there's a lot of people out there this morning that'll be grateful that you called in and made them aware of this information.
Yes, I hope so.
And I agree with you. We have to watch out for each other.
Right.
Okay? Thanks for calling this morning, Wilbur.
Well, I wanted to add a little bit to that.
Okay, go right ahead.
We are setting up a booth out at the county fair this year to sign up members to our local chapter. And we'll be out there every day over by the racetrack between the sheriff's office and the grandstand.
What's the dates on the county fair this year, Wilbur?
Well, it would start on Saturday, I believe the 15th, and go through the week.
15th through the 27th?
Yeah.
22nd.
I beg your pardon?
15th through the 22nd.
Yeah, we'll be setting up out there on Friday, the 14th, so it would start on Saturday or Monday, whatever. I think it starts Saturday and goes through the week.
Okay. Well, I appreciate very much you calling in and letting us know about that, and later in the week we'll remind them again about this, okay?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, thanks.
This is quite urgent for our disabled, well, it's for all veterans for that matter.
And we all know without our veterans, none of us would have the liberty and the wonderful life we experience here in the United States, would we?
Right, I was going to mention that.
Okay, thanks for calling us, Wilbur.
Okay.
Line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, Joanne.
Well, hello, dear.
Bet you don't know me.
This is Aunt Mabel, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
No? Aunt Belle. Well, how are you this morning?
I'm fine. I just wanted to call and welcome you to the Joy Show.
Well, I tell you what, you and I and all the other faithful viewers of Joy know no one can ever take her spot.
That's right.
But I'm definitely trying just to fill the airspace. How's that sound?
Do you think you'll last the week?
I don't know. I was so panicky this morning, and it's like, oh, well, if it was going to go wrong, it went wrong.
Yes,
But
just have to take a deep breath and hold on there.
yeah, but I was real impressed with Mr. Hoover. He definitely made the morning go easier for me.
Yeah. He had somebody else to talk to.
Yeah, he was real knowledgeable. I was really impressed with him this morning.
Did Joy go someplace on their vacation, or is she camping?
I really don't know. Joy's real secretive about things like that because she doesn't like to be bugged when she's resting. I don't blame her, do you?
Yeah, that's right.
She needed a rest. Listen,
Yeah.
she, Joy's Joy has a lot of health problems, and I'm always impressed by the fact that she pushes on and pushes on. But right now, she needs the vacation very much, and
You were saying there was somebody sick in her family?
Penny's father.
Oh, Penny's father.
Yeah, Bill Tarbert. We'd had some calls come in, and they were inquiring. He had had a heart attack last week, and they transferred him right away down to Riverside Hospital in Columbus, and he's stable, but of course he's very sick, and he's going to have triple bypass surgery tomorrow morning at Riverside Hospital. And of course my prayers are with Penny and
Yeah.
Steve and the rest of the family. Yeah.
Well, I just want to welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate the
I'll
support.
call you in more likely again.
Oh, good. I hope you do. We got a whole week here, so somebody
Yeah.
hang in there with me.
Okay.
Bye-bye, dear. Which one? Line 3? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Glenn Hess, and I'm a secretary of the Disabled American Veterans. And I would like to just to update with what Mr. Wilberworth was talking
Okay.
on the Disabled American Veterans. We'll have a trailer at the county fair. Every day of the county fair, we're going to have different speakers there, plus we're going to have the membership drive. And during the week, on the 15th, we're going to have Sam Lance, who is Department of Ohio Junior Vice Commander. We're also going to have Clifton Lewis. He is from Bucyrus, and he is a Columbus Hospital Service Coordinator. And since Crawford County has lost their job service program, Terry Boswell will be in for 2 days, the 17th and 18th. If any of the veterans has any questions about the job service program, they have an opportunity to be able to come to him to be able to find out anything in a job line on that. And the 19th, we're having Frank Tentler. He is with the Disabled American Veterans National Service Officer. And if anybody wants to go with the Disabled American Veterans and be able to have them to handle their claim, then he will be able to do it. We, as Disabled American Veterans, work with and along with Crawford County Veterans Association, where Bill Bestinger lives, and we try to help their office as much as we try to help ours. But there's things that their office cannot be able to do, as such as if a veteran wants certain organizations to handle their case, and that's the reason he's coming down. And the most important day is Veterans Day, and Senior Citizens Day is just the 20th, and we're having Dave Allstat. He is a Veterans Affairs from Governor Vornich's office. He will be there to answer any of the questions that any of the veterans would have and be able to answer them as much as they can. Darrell Slint is from Chillicothe VA Hospital Coordinator, and he will handle anything in that area of the region. If there's somebody that has been to Chillicothe or needs to know about the hospital or anything, he will be able to handle that. And then again, Clifton Lewis will be back the 22nd to be able to handle that. So we have speakers to be able to come out. What we need is veterans, Crawford County or the area, to get involved, to pay these people visits, be able to find out what their problem is in their area of their personal problem, and be able, let us be able to handle theirs as much as we can, and so that we can be able to do what we can to be able to help the veterans in the county or the area.
Yep, I agree with you. You guys put a lot of work out there, and it's very appreciated, because one thing that none of us get enough of is information. And when you are that willing to give your time, we need to support them in every way, shape, and form.
We will be there. I got to say this. I can thank one man, Harley Plummer, who is out of Chillicothe. He says he lives 50-some miles below Chillicothe. He has donated this trailer to us for this week for the county fair. And we was going to rent a booth, but he said a trailer would be better to be opener that we can get it. We can thank him because we can be able to set it up to be displayed. And the only thing that the veterans organizations is in any town or city is for one thing: help the veterans. And that's the reason that we have Crawford County Veterans Commissions, is to help the veterans. We do not try to be able to hurt anyone as possible. And we don't show partiality towards any of them either. If you went in, served the military service, you have a right as a veteran. You've done your job, and we are here to be able to help.
Okay. I urge everybody out there listening to go out and support him at the fair and give him your help. You veterans, you heard the request. He needs your backing. So all of you, listen up and let's give these guys a hand. They're working hard for our community, for the veterans.
I need one more thing.
Go ahead, dear.
All disabled American veterans that belongs to Chapter 100, we need your support to come in and help us with this fire. And I thank you, Joanne, for your time.
Why, thank you for calling. You're what makes the show. Line 2? Well, good morning.
Good morning, Joanne.
Well, good morning, Aunt Mabel.
I had to call, tell you that for starters, you've really got a good program today.
Why, thank you, ma'am.
We can always learn something new, can't we?
Well, my grandpa said that when he stopped learning, he'd have dirt in his face, so I don't want to be there.
That's right, and I just wanted you to know that I'm sitting here, and you have my support.
Why, thank you, Aunt Mabel. I appreciate it. And Bob's coming over to take you on that ride real soon.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll be waiting.
All right. Thanks for calling in, dear.
And you're doing fine.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, sweetie. This is what makes life good. You know, this is like a family, Joy in the Morning family, and I'm just a little part of it, and been a fan of Joy's show for years now. I think probably since 6 months after it came on the air. I was dialing through my channels one morning, and I came upon this woman sitting there talking, and people calling in and talking, and I thought, well, what in the world is this? And it took about 5 minutes for me to be hooked, and I mean hooked. I'm a Joy in the Morning fan all the way. It's a little different sitting here on this side of it, and appreciate the opportunity, but it's pretty scary. Well, our boss Jim says it's time for a break, and we're going to be right back.
For all of your bakery, produce, pasta, and catering needs, go out and see Maggie and Ron at Rupp Valley Farms. They have a certified organic farm, a fresh market, and an old world bakery. They make all their own pastas and pasta sauces. They have cakes for all occasions. Rupp Valley Farms are now catering special occasions with all of their homemade mouth-watering foods and baked goods. So go on out and visit Ron and Maggie at Rupp Valley Farms, 6700 Lincoln Highway, or give them a call at 683-1589.
The Unbeatable Bill's TV and Appliance, they only do electronics and appliances, and they do it best. Right now, get a GE 5000 BTU air conditioner, model number ACV05LA at the unbeatable price of $259. Save $90. Features 2 fan and cooling speeds, 8-position thermostat, and cools up to 220 feet. And with your good credit, get no payment, no interest, and no money down for 6 months. Free normal hookup and delivery within 50 miles. Get you Unbeatable Bill's TV and Appliance in Tiffin, Bucyrus, and Gallion. And remember, Unbeatable Bill's TV and Appliance is your appliance, video, and audio specialist, home of the unbeatable deal.
If color excites you, you'll go crazy over the vivid floors from Armstrong. The Solarian Select line comes in 26 different colors that can just drive you wild. From cool to classic, they're all available at New Supply of Marion. Each of the 26 colors comes with easy care, long-lasting Solarian wear surface. So drive on over to New Supply today and see the exciting line of Solarian Select floors from Armstrong. Go crazy with color at New Supply. 1585 Harding Highway East in Marion. 1-800-878-1585.
Television works. It adds new dimension to words and music. It adds sight. Your products are shown in combination with stimulating continuity and, if desired, set to music to match the tempo of your business. Your next prospective customer knows you before he or she even walks through your door. For more information on how television can help your business grow, contact the sales department at TV54. Phone 562-3830 or 1-800-562-8854. Television. It's never been more affordable. And it works. Steve Jones takes pride in offering the best chips to 54's viewing area, along with making sure Jones chips are delivered fresh daily by independent distributors like Jeff Redden. Jeff delivers fresh chips to stores all over the area. If your local store doesn't carry Jones chips, call 1-800-466-9424, and Steve Jones will be sure to get Jones chips there for you. If you see a Jones Chips truck, honk twice to let the independent distributor know you appreciate the fresh chips available at your local store. Jones, what chips are all about. Lofbaum and Murphy, attorneys at law, are the only names you need to know for your litigation needs. Lofbaum and Murphy, your law firm in Gallion, can help you with your problems in financial relief by explaining what bankruptcy can do for you. Lofbaum and Murphy can help you with all of your estate planning, along with explaining the differences between living trusts and a will. They can help you with the critical differences of any litigation problem you encounter. Call on the experience and detail Lofbaum and Murphy can make in your life. That's Lofbaum and Murphy, 451 Harding Way West in Gallion.
And I gave up my fishing trip for this?
Look, where's that old Paul?
I'm sure she'll tell us all about her pickle relish.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Look at this fish. I caught it. With what? Aunt Opal's pickle relish. It works every time. Suppose my great-grandfather used your relish.
Only when he wanted to catch the big one.
Munz Pernstall believes in the family tradition and is proud to bring this message to you.
Well, I'm back. So's the rest of the gang. I got a lot of support out here this morning. I appreciate them, and I want to say that first. Got Cheryl over here helping answer the phones, and she's a very pleasant person to see in the morning. She doesn't act like the rest of us. She gets up happy. The rest of us got to work our way into it. Shannon's sitting over here with his purple cast and his broken leg, and you know, I never realized how important Shannon was to this TV station until he broke his leg. Yeah, I'll blow your head up. And I got Jim, of course, my buddy. He's back here in the control room. You know, the thing that people out there don't realize is that this, at TV 54, it is a family. It's a very dysfunctional family, but it's definitely a family. And this is what we try to do. We try to be jack of all trades out here. So if one gets down, another one can jump in and fill in. And Cheryl's been kind of helping out for Shannon, and Shannon helps out for Joy, and Jim helps out for Shannon, and we all play roulette around here. We had a caller call in and said that Violet Cole is over at Fairview and had a birthday yesterday. We want to wish her happy birthday. And they wouldn't tell her age, but we'll say that she's probably a very educated woman, because if you've lived in this world a very long life, you're a very smart person. That's where we learn our knowledge. Line 2. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Joanne.
Well, hi, dear. How are you?
Okay, how you doing?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's much easier now. When I first got here, I was shaking all over and my mouth was dry, but I'm feeling better now.
Yeah, and it does make you kind of nervous when you have to do something, you know.
Yeah, I see now, I do Diner's Choice and I do commercials, but this is different. This is Joy's show.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a whole new category when you're doing Joy's show.
Yeah, this is either test. I'm also the commander for the Disabled American Veterans Auxiliary.
Oh, okay.
And I need all the help I can get, honey, 'cause, I'm not well myself. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to take that son or not.
Okay. Well, it sounds like our veterans out this morning are putting out a real plea for help from all the veterans, and I'm sure that you'd take help from the community in general, wouldn't you?
Huh?
You'd take help from anybody right now, right?
I sure would.
Okay.
I really going to need some help.
Okay. Well, we'll get the word out. That's the best we can do. I appreciate you calling in this morning.
I sort of thank you, and I enjoyed talking to you.
Well, I've enjoyed talking to you too, dear.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, Joanne.
Well, hi, Don.
Hi. This Crawford County Fair coming up. We have one of the nicest, most comfortable little Crawford County fairs, little county fairs in the state of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things going on about local people doing things locally. Older people, young people, just all kinds of things that not of a commercial nature, but of just a human interest nature. And you know me, I've got my little electric cart that I run around on.
Uh-huh.
And I've got my little camera.
Yeah.
How'd you like to go out there a day or two, different times, and catch some of those daytime things that's going on that's just local people doing local things, and have little experts for the stud muffin for Shannon to put together for the show next week.
Well, I tell you what, I'd probably enjoy it. But I got this little problem. It's called my boss. I have to find out what he says because he gets me scheduled to do things. And
he's hidden over under Bill's TV.
Oh, I forgot Kathy. She's easier, isn't she? We'll work on Kathy and see what she says.
We'll tell Bill to Tiffin or Sandusky or Gallion, and we'll just keep things going smoothly. And if you decide you want to go over there of an afternoon or an evening and do some of those shots, look at some of the schedule and the events, and we'll take a camera. You can grab a little, of course I've got that little 8mm that does some nice work, and we'll go just looking for just local human interest things at the fair that might interest people from around our county.
Oh, I do want to tell you, Don, we did get to see your electric car. You ought to take that out to the fair and set it up.
Well, I'm not completely done with that yet. See, it only does about 35 miles an hour, and I'm trying to put a battery pack in there that I stole from the Energizer Bunny when he wasn't looking.
Okay.
I can do 109.
All right.
Well, right now it's a restoration of an American-made jewel. It's a thing that was built in Florida. It had a lot of problems. The company eventually went bankrupt, but it's just a piece of nostalgia that I want to put together, and it is the cutest little bubble.
It is cute.
It looks like a door wedge went wrong.
Yep, it's very. Well, once you get it.
I'll ride it as soon as I get it done.
Okay, I'll take you up on that. I'll enjoy it.
If you're interested, or Kathy's interested in doing that, give me a buzz, and we'll do it so that everybody on Joy in the Morning can have some comment. And if anybody's got anything they'd like to see out there, events or anything that might be of interest that I can catch and give to you, why, I'll be glad to do it of a non-commercial nature.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye-bye. Which line? Line 3. Line 3. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not as good as Joy. I don't know everybody by name calling in.
Oh, dear. I thought you'd recognize who this is, and we'd have to quit meeting like this.
Oh, it's my friend Nancy. Well, good morning, dear.
I just wanted you to know the big sister's watching.
Well, good. I tell you what, I'm glad I got some support out there. This is my friend Nancy Runyon. We've been friends for way back. I met her, 23 years ago when I gave birth to a set of twins, and Nancy came over to my house because she was already a mother of twins and gave me all kinds of support. And we've been true blue friends ever since, haven't we, Nancy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and she's a lovely woman. And when I went through the flood, y'all have heard me talk about that when I've called in. My buddy Nancy was one of the first ones to show up to help me clean up so I could continue living in my home. And I don't know what I would have made it in this world without good friends. And Nancy's one of the best.
I just wanted to call and tell you I'm watching. I haven't caught every word. I've had other calls, but I was watching.
Well, bless your heart. Thanks for letting me know.
We can critique this in private.
Okay.
When you get in your moo-moo and your Pepsi can, then I'll know who you are.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you what. Be easy with me, okay?
Be kind.
Okay, bye-bye, sweetie.
Bye.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi.
Good to see you this morning.
Well, thank you.
And I'm a regular Joy in the Morning fan, so...
Okay, what's your name?
Margareta Goin.
Well, hello, Margareta.
And I want to wish my son Phil Goin a happy birthday today.
Happy birthday, Phil.
Yeah, he lives in Pennsylvania, but he's here today, and I told him, I said, we're going to do something special. We're going to wish you a happy birthday.
Okay, shall we ask? How old is Phil?
Well, maybe I better not tell.
Oh, he's a man. Do men care? I know women.
Well, we better just keep that a secret.
Okay. Well, happy birthday, Phil, from your mother and TV 54.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good morning.
I just want to tell you that I've been just as nervous this morning as I was when my grandson pitched his first Little League baseball game.
I can understand that, Dad. This is my father.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll tell you, he won his first game, and I think you got yours won, too, okay?
Okay, and I'm going to tell
I
you...
know you've been on TV before, but to do this show I know it's pretty straining on you. And I know you're going to ask me how you done, or how you did, whichever. I tell you, do me proud, girl, okay?
Well, Daddy, you're the one that taught us.
Okay, and your mom's gone, as you know. I'm not a regular call-in at the Joy in the Morning show, but I am a regular watcher. Because this is the way I hear from you, you know.
Yeah. Anytime they want to know my opinion about anything, they just watch Joy, and they'll hear it sooner or later.
Well, I'm not going to take up any more time because other people might want to call in, so...
I love you, Dad.
You're doing a real good job.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that's good. Now I got two good ones in a row there. What do you think? Well, I said... you know, it's harder to recover from that than it is anything else, I think, this morning. Dad, I love you very much, and my family have been very supportive in all my adventures in life, and they always like to kid me about how many jobs I've had in my life, and God knows there's been plenty of them. I've changed careers a few times. I'm not ashamed to tell you I'm 42 years old, and I think I've had 42 careers, so but that's okay. Right now I'm happy in where I'm at, and I find this very rewarding. I think Joy told you one time before that before coming to TV 54, I was a counselor by profession, and I'd worked at Richland Hospital in Mansfield, and New Beginnings is a recovery home, and working with people trying to recover and put their lives back together. And we use a lot of, they call it psychology in the counseling profession, but I think it takes more than psychology. I think it takes heart and feeling and caring. And you know, who would have believed that I would have got my most advanced training in caring and feeling about people at TV 54? It goes far beyond anything I could have imagined. And I started to say earlier, and I do want to take a minute here, and I want to tell you, Bill and Kathy Alonis, or we call them Mom and Papa of the station here, and they try to make our life as good as possible. You know, they try to teach us, but along with teaching us, they care about us. And the one thing that I know, and I think the other ones sitting around me this morning know, is that without them, none of us could be here. I mean, they've got their heart, soul, guts, and pocketbook into this place, and they back us. I know I've had my moments when I've come in off the road, and I didn't want to go out again because I got beat up pretty severely out there trying to sell an advertisement. And Bill would look at me, well, you're made of better stuff than that. You can do it. And Kathy's always got that comforting word for everyone. And I'm no matter what the future holds, Dad, I've had an experience here I take with me forever in education. Line 1, change of pace. Good morning.
Hi. Do you know anybody that has any Robin cups from McDonald's that they don't want? Because I got the whole set, but I don't have the Robin cup.
Well, I don't, but I'll tell you what, you've just asked about 10,000 homes. Maybe somebody will. Do you got a number? Do you want to give it to Jim or give it to Cheryl? And if someone calls in and has one, they can give you a call.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unlisted.
Pardon me, dear?
It's unlisted.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, I'm going to put you on hold, then you give it to Cheryl.
Okay.
Okay. There you go. Okay. We've got about 5 minutes. Hey, I did that. I looked at the clock at the same time that Jim went 5, and that means 5 minutes. And I'll tell you what, I can wing 5 minutes. I told Shannon earlier, 20 minutes I can talk in bed. So I shouldn't have any problem doing 5 more on the air. It's been an interesting morning, to say the least. I did want to mention Amy Hildebrand up at Good Eats asked me to let you guys know that the Fireman's Festival in Sulphur Springs is, say that for me, Sulphur Springs. I can't do double words like that. Will be on Friday the 29th and Saturday the 30th of July. And we've already had the veterans call in and tell us about their trailer they're going to have set up at the county fair. And I have heard from everyone involved that the fair is going to be something to see this year, and we don't want to miss it. And it's going to be the 15th through the 22nd. Okay. And it's a little bit early to talk about it yet, but see, Joy might not give me another chance, so I want to tell y'all. You got to get up to Crestline Harvest Festival this year. Gladys and Joe and all of them have been working real hard to put us a spectacular show together. And Joy gets to talk about Bucyrus a lot, so it's my chance to talk about Crestline. Very proud of our little town over there. We have a mayor who cares. We've got a chief of police who cares, and we're building a good police department. And I said the only thing that bothers me about them is that they're all younger than my children. It's kind of hard to have a police officer looking at you, and you know good and well that you're old enough to be their mother. But it's okay. They're good. They're all good at what they do, and I'm proud of Crestline. And this is a chance for me to tell you how proud I am of you. One thing I've noticed about our town lately, you people in Crestline, listen up. Did you notice how many people in our community have made a lot of effort into redoing their homes and planting flowers and shrubs and trees and making Crestline just a prettier place to be? We've always had a nice little town to look at, but it's getting nicer all the time. We get out and ride our motorcycle around, and I look at all the only thing that bothers me, though, is all you people have them goose, them concrete geese. I do wonder. You go out and you buy them clothes. I have a hard time keeping my kids and grandkids dressed. How can you afford goose clothes? Did it ever dawn on you that people dress geese? Concrete geese? And I've seen them in everything. I've seen them in bikinis and raincoats and 4th of July outfits carrying little flags. It's just an amazement. Okay, the rest of this week on the show, we're going to have tomorrow, we're going to have Charles, and his nickname is Red Kirkenberg from the American Cancer Society. He's the honorary chairman of the American Cancer Society. He's going to be with us tomorrow. I think it's going to be real interesting. Cheryl's done an excellent job getting this stuff together because goodness knows I couldn't have done it. And then we're going to have visitors on Wednesday from Charles Mill Lake, and Sherry Baldwin, and she's the Park Activities Director. And is it Marshall Wood? Marshall Wood, and she's the publicity or the public relations person. 2 minutes, okay. Thursday, we don't have. We were slated to have Judge Sherrick, but he's had a change in his schedule, and he won't be with us, so we will be announcing later on in the week. But I told Shannon and Cheryl, and I'll tell you guys the same thing. I promise it's going to be somebody interested. I will get somebody good on here for you on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're going to have visitors from SeaWorld. And I think Cheryl was telling me earlier we're going to have an animal expert. She tells me that we're going to have a macaw. Now, I know animals have a tendency to get weird when they get on TV. I've seen these shows where they've had animal visitors on the air. If it does anything weird, Cheryl, I'm going to let you take care of it, okay? But it ought to be an interesting week. And like we all know, there's no doubt about it, we all know one thing. We can't replace joy. But we're going to try to keep you entertained this week. And we want you to call in. You know, just like always, call in. Let us know what you're thinking. Let's talk about whatever you need to talk about. We've got about a minute left in today's show.
That was Edith again. She gave
Okay. 5118. Okay. Edith, you say? Edith called in, and she gave us the room number for Bill Tarbert down at Riverside Hospital, and he's in room 5118 in Riverside, Columbus, Ohio, for those people who'd like to send him a card. I know he's not real up right now, but by golly, he's going to start feeling better, and because we know there's a lot of people talking to God this morning and praying for him, and that he get a good recovery, and he'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Well, the guys are telling me wind it up. It's been a treat. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the morning, and thanks for letting me intrude into your life. Bye-bye.